Well, thank you so much for joining today's live stream from TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn and Facebook. Our lovely Scottish Fold kitten, Rosie, is joining, but she may jump out of this space anytime. So thank you so much for joining this live stream. I do live stream every Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Time. And then usually I have a designated topic. And then today it happens to be a Trump immigration. Sorry that Rosie is looking for treats, so I need to comply. So that's what I did. So thank you so much for joining this live stream. I'm attorney Jae Francis. I'm a U.S. immigration lawyer based in Chicago, but serving all 50 states. I have some updates when it comes to U.S. immigration. I will be sharing some of them today, but I will try to answer many questions today because so many updates, so that I couldn't answer many of the questions previously. So you can post the question from TikTok, YouTube, and then Instagram, and then I can see the questions, and I'll try to answer them if they're U.S. immigration question here. Okay, Daisy 30M, you overstay B1 visa, and then you have approved VAWA, but you're outside of United States. So this type of situation, technically, yes, the VAWA case, you don't need to be in the U.S. You may go with consular process to complete the process. So if you need attorney, just contact us or any other attorney if you need assistance. But yes, the VAWA, you don't need to be in the U.S. You may be overseas. Okay. Now, Sufido, you have a 15 plus speeding tickets paid. You have a green card. So you're worried about going overseas. So even though you're permanent residents, if you have a criminal records, then you need to be careful because in some cases you may not be allowed to re-enter the U.S. But you said they're all traffic citation. I'm not your attorney, but you may have an attorney as well. Just make sure that just have all these traffic citations printed and have them with you. But sometime like a state like Wisconsin, traffic citation includes OWI, drunk driving. So you need to be careful with that as well. So okay, so 777ZGG, you were scheduled for interview 2 days ago. Now you're waiting for actual date because, as you know, when USCIS scheduled interview for you, when you check your status online, it doesn't say the date. So you should get mail notice, or if you happen to have myuscis.gov account, then you'll be able to download your interview notice. Well, congratulations. Have a good interview. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So then Daisy, you potentially have a complicated case. And then she asked a follow-up question. Her VAWA was approved, but she may be subject to visa overstay or unlawful presence. And then if you're in the US, it's a lot easier, but when you're overseas, you need to be careful. Just something that is kind of difficult to explain over this live stream. Okay. Yes, and then Mo Kwum, right? About 40 days ago, you had an interview. Looks like it was adjustment of the status interview, and you're still waiting. According to USCIS regulation, you need to wait up to 120 days for you to start contacting your local field office. So you're not there yet. So thank you so much for joining from Instagram. I have a lot more questions coming from TikTok. So I started answering question right away, and then I will add some of the topics that I'd like to discuss with you today. So Carter, you said I have a travel document, advance parole. Can I travel without asylum, green card pending? That second part is confusing, but looks like you like to go with advanced parole, right? And then looks like because when your asylum is approved, you don't get travel permit. So maybe your green card application based upon approved asylum is pending, but still going overseas with advance parole is not recommended if you have a criminal records or if you have an unlawful presence. And also, the government tried to pause adjustment of the status application based upon approved asylum application. So probably not a good idea for you to go overseas at this point. Just hang on, okay? Okay, so then boss lady, you have four convictions, misdemeanors a long time ago. You said 24 years ago, and then you got married to U.S. citizen, and then you're wondering whether you'll be able to adjust your status. That's something that probably you need to pay consultation with attorneys. Misdemeanors can be anything, right? It can be simple, but when you have a misdemeanors, you should be careful because your case could be denied unless you check everything well in advance. Okay. Now, so then Monindo asked question, what happens if work authorization renewal was approved, but you have a biometrics appointment? So sometime USCIS schedule multiple duplicate biometrics appointment. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense because you already have work permit. But I don't know what kind of case you have it, but you have a work authorization renewal, so you don't have marriage, green card case, something else. When the government schedule biometrics, you need to attend that. Now, you may be thinking whether this is like a setup for ICE to pick you up. Possibility, right? You heard the story that there's a Columbia University student, right, who applied for naturalization, and then the government created fake interview date, and then they arrested him on this fake interview date. So anything's possible. It's kind of hard to tell. You use your caution, but this is what I usually tell, right? In general, that appointment with the USCIS is still safe in most states, but any appointment with ICE, if possible, you may need to reschedule. Okay. A peace on earth, same situation. If you have a criminal records, you don't go overseas, period. Like whether it just like no go. Just it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Times like this, going overseas should not be your priority because when you leave and then come back, and then when you talk to CBP, individual CBP officers have a final say. They're not subject to any heightened scrutiny. You're not able to appeal it. Especially, it looks like you have some criminal records and you like to go overseas with advance parole. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Just give me 1 second here. Yeah, so then miss work in progress. So her question is that looks like there's a adjustment of the status application for spouse and children. The question is that whether minor children have to attend the interview. Answer is absolutely yes. Usually they don't ask question, but just remember that if you look at the 45 application, there's an eligibility sections. So when if your children apply for green card, they need to attend it. I'm gonna drink some water. Okay. Of course. Okay, so I will try to answer as many questions today. Okay, so then Brandon, multiple dollar sign, that you're a permanent resident and then you have a spouse overseas. How long does it take? It's F2A, right? Family preference case. So your petitioner, right? Petitioner is a permanent resident and your spouse overseas. Now, if your spouse in Pakistan, Mexico, it takes longer. But if not, then it'll take between 3 and 5 years. 3 and 5 years. If your spouse live in Pakistan or Mexico, is longer. The case in Pakistan takes quite some time. Well, we have a Korean viewer. Konyoungdae is live for everyone. Everyone's welcome, but this is for U.S. immigration only. So you may post any question. You may post your question in Korean or English because I bilingual. But yes, this is for everyone. But topic must be on U.S. immigration. Okay. So Sophia asked the question. So Sophia asked the question, can I enter the US using my tourist visa while I'm in green card overseas after getting married? Okay, this is a little bit jumbled up, so I'm just reviewing this. Okay. Uh, okay, Sophia, you need to rephrase your question. So your question is whether you can enter the US with a tourist visa, right? And then I see, so it took a while. So your question is this: so you're wondering whether you can just enter the US with a tourist visa and get married and go back to your country and then start your spouse visa, CR1. Answer is yes. So you're allowed to enter the US with a tourist visa to get married, but the key point is this: is that if you apply for green card within 90 days, then you may have some issues. Pedro, our client, has a pending K1 case, and then he wonders and the worry that all cases are taking longer, and that is true partially. This is kind of unfortunate. So I will tell you, Pedro and other people, K1, right, takes longer. 129F, right, is the half of the process. Used to be less than 3 months, but now it's a 5 month minimum, 5 month minimum. But in contrast, marriage green card cases going faster, going faster. Like some of you who watched my TikTok video last year, middle of between April and July, cases really fast. I mean, we're not going back, but at least it takes less than 6 months or faster, but they schedule the interview. Of course, Pedro, thank you so much for joining us every week. So marriage green card cases faster, but most cases scheduled for interview. So that's the difference. But I mean, you like faster case processing, right? You don't mind attending interview if you have a good case, but more cases scheduled for interview now. Okay. Now, okay. I think that I will be looking at the TikTok at this point. Okay, so a tumbleweed's asking, does failure to report accident, you hit a stop sign, affect family petition? So depends, like why did you hit a stop sign? Was it just like you're tired and missed by mistake, or you're drunken? So you probably need to put this question into a little bit bigger context. And then more than ever, the criminal records really important in terms of deciding whether you're eligible for adjustment of the status application or not. Okay. Now, thank you so much for joining from TikTok. But one of the problem of the TikTok comments questions is that it's kind of difficult to find the your question. So one of you asked, Eva Quest 49 small letter. Sorry, how much is my consultation? Usually it's 150 up to 30 minutes. It's a Zoom. So call our main number. So then I'll talk about this. For those of you who's joining from YouTube, you will see the phone number display. But from TikTok and Instagram, you need to go to my profile, Dr. Jae Francis Immigration, and find the phone number. So answering your questions, a paid consultation with me or with attorney Alicia, it's 150 up to 30 minutes. So that's my consultation fee. And then okay, so Kaplan 992, you never receive your RFE because your lawyer changed your address and you try everything but no luck. any suggestion. Okay, so this is why good idea to create and maintain and access your My USCIS account, because with that, usually USCIS will send you notice. In your case, the request for evidence. Now, Pedro, you you asked whether it's a good idea to switch to marriage green card case. Probably not a good forum to discuss it. But under Biden, sometime when your K1 petition pending, you're able to enter and then adjust, try to switch your case. But I don't recommend it. Once you start K1, stick to it, because there will be complication if you say that, well, I don't need it. It takes long. I have a tourist visa. I'll come to US and I'll try to adjust it. But in contrast, when you have a pending I-130 petition, because of the different nature, then, and if you're allowed to enter, then you may switch to adjust some of the status, but not from 129F to 45, or basically it's like I-130 and 45, not recommended. But going back to RFE notice and any notice, if you have a My USCIS account, then you'll get electronic copy. Now, unless you do it, you rely on mail, right, to you or attorney. I'm surprised that, and then in your case, I'm just confused because your attorney changed the address, and that's like, I'm gonna pause and explain. Okay, we changed our address, right? Our firm recently changed the address. Okay, and then we send our notice to them. But sometimes, in many cases, USCIS doesn't process them. So when your attorney changes their address, it can be problematic. But you should get your copy as well. Not only your attorney, but you should get a notice. I'm surprised that you didn't get yours. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The Carter kind of clarify the question. So his asylum approved and he has a work permit, and then he hasn't applied for green card. And then obviously, right, he's able to go, but nowadays I don't recommend going overseas. There's some extreme attorney, like version of attorney recommendation. You don't go overseas, like, period. I'm more case by case, but especially your asylum's approved. This government has certain negative ideas about asylum, so I will be extra careful with that. Okay, so yeah, Emily Paris, mentioned that you have a green card based upon marriage. Congratulations. So looks like she had a pending asylum case previously. So this is what happened. Now, when you have a pending asylum case and got married to U.S. citizen, apply for green card, then you shouldn't cancel your asylum before you become a permanent resident. But in the case of Emily, she canceled after she became a permanent resident based upon what she is commenting here, which is good. So permanent residency based upon marriage, and then USCIS will ask whether you'd like to continue with your asylum application. And obviously you say, no, I don't need it, right? So that's okay. So then the question is, no answer yet. Looks like in your case, USCIS didn't send you the mail. You proactively cancel asylum, right? And then is it safe to go overseas? Now, I mean, not only, once again, right, when you had an asylum and cancel, it's so tricky. And then I wonder whether you're conditional resident. It means that by the time that you became permanent resident, you're married less than 2 years. So all conditional residents, this is what I recommend. I'm not your attorney. I'm just giving you my recommendation, but doesn't mean that it's a legal advice. So you need to proceed on your own risk. For my conditional residents, I tell our clients that when you come back to US, it's good to come back with a US citizen. Okay. So Kwon Young-dae asked the question here. So then he entered the US with a K1 visa. Well, congratulations. And then he entered, looks like September of last year. and then looks like he applied for adjustment of the status, and then he's asking whether K1 base 45 application could be denied, or his actual question is that does it happen often? Our case never happened. We don't have any K1 AOS denial, but I'm not sure about the others. I haven't heard anything the government's targeting against K1 base adjustment of the status case either. So, all these changes happening, K1 takes longer, but still that's the best option to bring your loved one from overseas. Okay, I made a K1 visa recently and then watch it. Okay. Zoe, USCIS say that your interview will be scheduled. How long does it take? You submitted your 45 on December 20th, 2025. I explained that some cases that we file in January, like Zoe, scheduled for interview for May, and then soon, it may come soon. You'll be surprised that even if you're in California, New York, Florida, cases going fast. But like I said, they schedule interview nowadays. So have a good interview. Okay, so yeah, so then KJ asked, good question. So you're permanent resident, and then he wondered whether he need to register with the alien registration. So remember that there is a lawsuit against alien registration, and that they asked the court to temporarily, right, pause the beginning or enforcement of alien registration, because as you know, it was scheduled to start April 11, right? April 11 last week, and then that attempt failed. So there is no injunction or admin stay of alien registration. You need to do it, but if you're a permanent resident, then you don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. Okay. The Sophia clarified the question. So her question is, she mentioned previously that she has a tourist visa and she may get married in the U.S., but she like to be overseas, right? So even though she may get married in the U.S., she like to go back to her country and then continue the process. So her updated question is, if she stay overseas, it means that she pursue and go with consular process. Does she get any work permit before she gets immigrant visa? Unfortunately, answer is no. Consular process doesn't give you any work permit or EAD until you come to US. So you don't get anything overseas. So Sophia, if you're thinking about doing this in the US, you need to be careful. Remember, there is a 90-day wait period if you like to adjust your status to permanent residency. If you need attorney, just let me know. Now, I've been talking all day, so I'm gonna take a little bit of break and then drink some water. Okay. Now, I'm gonna pause and then talk about sort of good news, right? There's just like so many news to follow nowadays. So one is that for those of you who enter the US and then stay in the US with a student visa, right? You heard about this. The student visa is controlled by the SEBIS and then ICE, not the USCIS. And there is a massive cancellation of F1 visa, and then it's called F1 visa SEBIS cancellation, termination, actually, that's the term. Now, if you believe that if your visa wrongfully terminated, then you may sue them in federal court, and then it's called temporary restriction order. It's called TRO against the government, and then you may fight your case in the federal court. So we didn't do it, we don't do it, but we heard many successful TRO against the government when F1 visa was wrongfully terminated. Okay, and then I will switch to the second topic. But Olga asked the question from YouTube. What is processing time for marriage green card case, right? So we handle many marriage green card cases, and then I told you about this at the beginning, but it looks like you just joined. So I would say that once you submit everything, expect that it's gonna take up to 6 months. 6 months, right? Once you submit everything, 6 months or less, and then there will be interview. I'm not saying that it's official policy or happening to all cases, but almost all cases schedule all cases we filed after October of last year being scheduled regardless of location. So I'm gonna slow down. Maybe I talk too fast. Okay. So marriage green card cases that we filed since October of last year. October, November, December, January, right? We're talking 4 months. They're being scheduled for interview in May, right? So if you filed in January, wow, this is fast, 4 months. If you file your case in October, your scheduled interview for April, so 6 months. So that's why I'm saying that it's up to 6 months, but there's a good chance that there will be interview for you. Now, another topic that I wanted to discuss, that the government terminated CHNV parole program, right? Parole program. For those of you who entered the U.S. under Biden from Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, and then Venezuela, right? So the U.S. CIS unilaterally say that we're gonna terminate it, and that they say your work permit is terminated as well. They send you notice. They also announce that all asylum, green card cases based upon this parolee status, they're gonna pause all this. There's a lawsuit against it, and that this week the judge issued TRO, injunction against this. So say that the judge say that the government, you're too fast. You're not following the rule. The rule is that you need to conduct individual review to whether they're going to terminate the parole or not. And then since they failed to apply any individual review process, the judge said that the government decision of immediate, or is supposed to take it in effect on April 25th. The judge said it is invalid. So that's good news. So TRO against CHMB Pro program, right? Went through multiple F1 student visa service termination TRO happening, and then there's a national immigration fights about multiple Venezuelans transported into El Salvador. There's a court battles going on, so there's a lot of updates. And also when it comes to student visa, right, the Trump administration recently are moving into canceling Harvard University's ability to issue service, and because they're in fight, right? Harvard and the Trump administration, they said they're gonna take away Harvard University's ability to issue a service. So it's happening here. So stay tuned. Now I'm quite behind. Okay. Yes, the Linda asked, whether you can file adjustment of the status or immigrant visa for parents who have a removal order. This is possibly yes or no, but we need more information, right? If your parents enter without inspection, then well, not only you need to recalendar and then terminate the removal proceeding, but you need a waiver, and then the children is not qualifying relatives. So call us, and then in case like this, we'll do a case evaluation. Okay. Yeah, user 5060 asks, interesting question. So you have a withholding of removal, right? So Mr. Garcia, right, like alleged Venezuelan gang member who was picked up and then put it into place into El Salvador, right? He had withholding of removal issued by immigration judge. What that means is that the governments may deport him to any country but El Salvador because he's from El Salvador. So that's why the government and the many attorneys and the judges say that this was wrongfully done, because when you have a removal of withholding of removal, you're not supposed to go back to your country, but any other country is fine. But your question is that for those of you who have a withholding of removal, now later you got married to U.S. citizen and you like to go with a marriage green card case, you need to reopen. That's the one term to use, or recalendar and terminate. And then his question is, how long does it take? It's usually by court, right? It may take up to 3 months and 6 months. Some courts don't entertain anything right away, so it may take some time. So having said that, thank you so much for joining today's live from TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. And then those of you who join and watch this from LinkedIn and Facebook, thank you so much. I do every Thursday, right? Unless is I'm out of office. I mean, it's Hollywood, but sorry, I'm just tired. Okay, so I will see you next Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Time. I do live every Thursday, 5 p.m. Sometime I don't have time to post a preview or like, schedule well ahead of Thursday, but you'll know that TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and then LinkedIn, I do every Thursday, 5 p.m. as long as I'm not out of office or out of country. So thank you so much for joining this live. I do it 30 minutes. And then until then, you can find me on, short videos, long form videos, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and then all these various, platform. You can find me on our website, and I do blogging as well. But until then, peace be with you.